It must have been a historic day for the Palestinians. The UN Human Rights Council, the UNHRC, on Saturday approved 5 resolutions against Israel and also called on the world to participate in an arms embargo against it. By a vote of 25-7 and 15 abstentions, the Council called on Israel to withdraw from the Golan Heights. Another resolution called on Israel to withdraw to the 1967 borders and to cease all activity in Judea and Samaria. And one resolution condemned Israel for human rights abuses against the Palestinians. To the world, the anti-Israel resolutions adopted by the UNHRC may have been the right moves in the right direction when considering the history of Israeli atrocities against the Palestinians. But Israel's supporters have understandably reacted strongly to what they see as anti-Israel bias.
Resolutions are a sign that governments around the world are responding to the pressure of public opinion. Politics is often about resolutions and symbols. They're very important indeed. So you can tell the importance that the US attaches to it and its client government Israel by the fury of their reactions. If this were a trivial matter, there would be a trivial reaction. So you can measure here, as in physics, you can measure the strength of an action sometimes by the strength of the reaction. It's a very important step. Palestinians will take some succor from it, and the Israelis will see this as yet another measure of world public opinion moving against them.
The UNHRC resolutions drew angry reactions from the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, who called the council the circus of the abused. Netanyahu also sarcastically called for changing the name of the UNHRC to the Council for Decisions Against the Only Democracy in the Middle East. Nikki Haley, the US ambassador to the United Nations, agreed that the council needed to consider a name change. She also said Washington might consider pulling out of the council if it considers what she described as its anti-Israel bias. But when speaking about bias, many may recall that it has been the United States which has consistently shown bias in favor of the Israelis.
The UN reports that Israel's an apartheid state. It creates an atmosphere where around the world civil society actors can feel more confidence. And those who defend Israel feel even less confident. It's impossible to tell when the decisive breakthrough will take place. But you know, it's only going in one direction. Israel becomes increasingly unpopular. More and more measurements testify to that. And so I think perhaps the governments who pass these motions may be a little bit cynical, but their citizens certainly are not, and will take confidence from such resolutions.
Instances in which the US has openly favored Israel against the Palestinians are not few. At several crucial junctures, Washington vetoed anti-Israel resolutions at the UN Security Council. And the recent controversial designation of Jerusalem Al-Quds as the capital of Israel may have been the peak of American favoritism toward the Israelis.
When the US wants to bring Israel to heel, it can do so. That's what happened in 1956 when they invaded Egypt, and that's what's been happening subsequently. So leverage, yes. But I don't think at the moment Trump is really interested in exercising any leverage. And the appointment of this crazy guy, Bolton, to be his senior national security advisor is a sign to many people around the world who might be friends and allies of Israel, of the USA, that something pretty dark is going on, because the guy is somebody who excites fear and contempt among many of the chancelleries of the world.
Many may agree that the Israelis have become emboldened to intensify their atrocities against the Palestinians after seeing an administration biased in their favor in Washington. And the recent administration change that brought in John Bolton could deteriorate that. For a globally known hawkish personality like Bolton, one should expect an even more hostile anti-Palestinian agenda to come up on board in the White House.